This time on Motorweek 92, we test the Chevy Cavalier with anti-lock brakes. We go to two wheels with a Motorweek motorcycle test. And back to four when we test Ford's new full-size van. We'll also have an FYI report on crash helmet testing and lots more. So come drive with us next.
Motorweek 92, television's automotive magazine, is made possible by funding from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the financial support of viewers like you. Your host from Motorweek 92, John Davis.
Well, hello and welcome again to Motorweek 92. We're glad to have you with us. Few recent safety advances have proven to be as effective as anti-lock brakes. But unfortunately, ABS is usually a very expensive option. It's really only available as standard equipment on the more upscale models. Until now, that is. This is the 1992 Chevrolet Cavalier, one of America's favorite workhorse economy cars, and now the least expensive car you can buy with standard anti-lock brakes. This is thanks to a new inexpensive ABS system devised by GM's Delco Moraine division. So we wanted to see how the latest in safety technology and Chevy's most popular family car fit together. Over the past 10 years, the Cavalier styling has evolved from square-jawed to mildly aerodynamic, although it still looks conventional. But with the present emphasis on safety and economics, styling may not be a problem here. The 92 Cavalier offers no new sheet metal surprises. Instead, Chevy's conservative compact concentrates on efficiency with a refined 2.2-liter four-cylinder engine. It's the same basic engine that's been under the Cavalier's hood all along, but it now delivers 110 horsepower and 130 pound-feet of torque. That's about 10% more power than last year. Internal changes make the engine smoother and more efficient. A 3.1-liter V6 is standard on the Z24 and optional on some other models. While holding to its basic car image, our 5-speed Cavalier's performance on the test track was still quite competent. 0 to 60 took a reasonable 9 seconds, and the quarter mile was faster than cars like the base Mitsubishi Galant and Nissan Stanza at 16.8 seconds with a final speed of 81 miles per hour. Equipped with the optional FE2 sports suspension, our Cavalier RS handled pretty well, even if it demanded a lot of attention. There was plenty of tire scrub, but steering remained quick and responsive. Our braking test showed the plain Jane Cavalier at its best. GM designed a simpler, less expensive four-wheel anti-lock braking system to fit the practical nature of the Cavalier. The GM ABS6 piggybacks on the brake master cylinder and uses 3 small electric motors to provide continuous pressure adjustment, and it works just fine. Stopping distances from 60 miles per hour averaged a short 118 feet. Pedal feedback is moderate and not unnerving. By comparison, our 1991 test of a Nissan Sentra with optional ABS returned a longer stopping distance of 126 feet. A recent bout with some nasty Maryland weather allowed us to put the Delco Moraine-made ABS to the slippery street test. Again, the system gets a Motorweek thumbs up. On the open road, the Cavalier delivers a good economy car ride and equally fine mileage. EPA estimates with the 5-speed manual transmission are 25 city and 36 highway. Expect 30 miles per gallon in normal use. The Cavalier's interior gets the nod of approval for being most efficient and well assembled. The modern dash was new last year. Our car had the performance handling package that includes more gauges than expected for a family car. Getting into the Cavalier is usually without incident. However, keeping the seat all the way back and our car's optional tilt wheel up helps to avoid the typical small car squeeze. The cloth-covered seats are comfortable and offer adequate support, although you do feel like you're going to slide off the front. A standard safety feature we liked at first, but later became an annoyance, is the automatic locking of all the doors when the car is put into motion. While driving, it is easy to reach the radio. We're glad Chevy placed it above the heater controls, which are a stretch. All controls work effectively. Although GM shifters have shown improvement over the last few years, this one feels notchy and is not very accurate. A 3-speed automatic is an option. Storage space in the Cavalier is limited, but we appreciate the handy retractable drink holder in the dash. For a family car, the Cavalier 4-door is best suited to a still growing clan. Rear seat space is tight for adults. But our car's split folding seat is handy for carrying long items. The trunk's 13.2 cubic feet easily accommodates a full set of luggage, but liftover is high. The base model Cavalier will appeal to family bean counters with its sticker price of $8,899. That's not much for a reliable car equipped with ABS. Our as-tested price was $11,935, still a very low price tag by today's standards. Hitting us just right is the Cavalier's standard anti-lock brakes, increased horsepower, smart dash design, and overall good family car value. Striking a sour note in our car was the notchy shifter, unexceptional styling, and tight rear seat. With the advent of a standard anti-lock braking system in such a basic car as the Chevrolet Cavalier, it appears that General Motors is thinking more about customers' needs, which is what is needed to put U.S. car makers back on top. So how does the latest safety technology fit Chevy's most popular car? Like a comfortable pair of slippers. If you're one of those people that notices motorcycles, you've probably seen some pretty aerodynamic machines running around in recent years. These are what are known as sport bikes or high-performance motorcycles. Most folks know them simply for their ability to go fast, but there's more to them than that. So we decided to look at one of the best of this exciting breed to see what they're all about. Like all sport bikes, the Yamaha FZR600 looks like it was born on a racetrack. Make no mistake, this is a street bike, but there are enough racy features to satisfy any Wayne Rainey wannabe. Starting with styling so aggressive that it makes a Diablo look tame. Then there are technical features like the rigid twin-spar steel frame, and Yamaha's substantial Delta Box swing arm. Plant yourself in the thinly padded saddle and the FZR sporting background is obvious. High set foot pegs and low handlebars place the rider in a tight racing style crouch. It gives you a good view of the large usable gauges. Handlebar mounted controls are also clear and well marked. There are passenger accommodations, but only small friendly people need apply. Underneath the stylish fairing, the FZR packs a potent 599cc 4-cylinder engine with dual overhead cams and 16 valves. It feeds power through a 6-speed gearbox that's slick and precise, though our brand new test bike sometimes had trouble finding neutral. The suspension consists of a pair of 38mm forks up front and a single rear shock that is adjustable for preload only. When it's riding time, the FZR fires easily, requiring minimal use of its fairing-mounted choke, and pulls easily away, exhibiting a torquier character than we expected from a high-revving 4. We did expect to take some time getting used to the gear ratios, which are racetrack tight. And the riding position, while not suitable for long-haul touring, will easily accommodate a day of fast sprints on your favorite roads. That's where the FZR600's real strength is, in the corners, so we couldn't resist taking it to a racetrack, specifically the 2 miles of twists and turns of Summit Point Raceway near Charlestown, West Virginia. When finally turned loose in the thick of its power band, the FZR motor will outpull just about anything on wheels, but all that power can unsettle the rear end. The shock is in need of additional damping to supplement the preload adjustment. Fortunately, the FZR compensates with razor-sharp steering, and in our test, an unerring ability to hold a line through Summit Point's tightest corners. With big disc brakes on both ends offering plenty of power and control where it's needed most. This superior performance has allowed the FZR600 to win more races than almost any other motorcycle, while still pleasing legions of street riders. And with the '92 price cut to only $4,999, we expect even more buyers to flock to Yamaha showrooms. All in all, it's quite a package. Speed plus style, handling, and race-proven technology. Easy to understand why sport bikes are some of the hottest selling motorcycles today, and why the Yamaha FZR600 is at the head of the class. If you're a smart motorcycle rider, you never get on your machine without a helmet. No other piece of safety equipment has saved more lives. But when you purchase a helmet, you want to make sure that you get the most protection for your money. That's why certain guidelines have been established for helmet quality and durability. Of course, these regulations can sometimes be difficult for the average person to understand. Fortunately, we have Lisa Barrow here to explain the whole process in her FYI report on helmet testing.
According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, wearing a motorcycle helmet is the single most important factor in surviving a motorcycle crash. It reduces a motorcyclist's chances of being fatally injured by 1/3.
All motorcycle helmets sold in the U.S. must meet a safety standard set by the U.S. Department of Transportation. Here at the Southwest Research Institute in San Antonio, Texas, helmets undergo rigorous testing to make sure they meet the federal government standard.
We do basically 4 different types of tests on the helmets. We do an impact test, a penetration test, a retention test, and then a series of tests to look at peripheral vision and labeling. We test helmets under 4 environmental conditions. These include hot, cold, water, and ambient conditions.
Okay, Lisa, this is our impact test. We raised the helmet up about 77 inches and released it onto a flat anvil at the front helmet location. The helmet was traveling about 19.7 feet per second at impact. This instrumentation measured the energy that was absorbed by the helmet and also monitored the speed that it was traveling.
We do a penetration type test, which we drop a 6.6 pound object onto the helmet and ensure that it does not penetrate the shell and liner and injure the head.
This is the retention test. The idea here is to see if the chin strap will stretch more than 1 inch by suspending 300 pounds of dead weight from it for a period of 2 minutes.
Okay, we also do a peripheral vision test on the helmets. We look for greater than 105 degrees of peripheral vision and greater than 1 inch brow opening. We look at the side of the gauge to make sure there's ample space between the gauge and the side of the helmet.
We kept hoping that something would explode or at least snap while we were shooting. No such luck. But helmets do fail these tests, mostly due to improper labeling. It takes about a day and a half to test a helmet, and this facility will inspect approximately 100 this year. Southwest Research is one of 2 testing facilities contracted by the federal government. Other agencies that perform testing include the Snell Memorial Foundation and the American National Standards Institute, both of which are voluntary certification programs.
If you can find a helmet that has a DOT sticker on it, that assures you that it meets the minimum requirements of the standards and most likely will protect you in the event of an accident, whether it be a $50 or a $500 helmet.
But keep in mind that a more expensive helmet may offer extra features like ventilation, less wind noise, and easy-to-use shields, which all add up to a more comfortable fit. And that could make the difference between a helmet that sits on your shelf and one that you'll wear, protecting your head from injury.
Everyone has to mark time in one way or another, so why not mark it on a calendar that shows some of the greatest racing cars ever built in high-speed wheel-to-wheel action? Motorsport International's 1992 Vintage Racing Calendar features 12 beautiful photographs of historic racers, as well as a complete listing of major vintage racing events. The format is a bit small for the $14.95 price, but these are pictures that any vintage racing buff will want on his or her wall. Our viewers constantly hear us raving about the passenger and cargo carrying advantages of minivans. But there are times when even a minivan may prove to be too small. That's when it's time to step up to a full-size van, like this all-new Ford Club Wagon. Of course, full-size vans have a reputation for being little more than metal boxes with vinyl seats, downright primitive when compared to their sometimes luxurious smaller cousins. But as you're about to see, that notion is way out of date. The 1992 Econoline Club Wagon design marks the first major overhaul of Ford's multi-purpose workhorse in 17 years. And in almost every way, it is a more modern, efficient, and safer vehicle. And although Ford made dramatic changes in basic architecture, the Econoline Club Wagon's wheelbase remains the same, 138 inches, thus retaining the full utilitarian appeal and flexibility of its predecessor. That's good, since the Econoline cargo van currently holds 1/3 of the van conversion market. That's also why Ford designers work closely with aftermarket suppliers to help meet their needs. Aerodynamics and contemporary styling were the next orders of business. Ford's 92 full-size van has a sloping hood for improved visibility. It blends into flush headlamps and a pinched grille. Bumpers are now more integrated into the body. Important to the new Econoline Club Wagon is the curvature of the roof line and drip rail. Together they help produce better aerodynamics without compromising cargo carrying capacity and versatility. Larger tail lamps and a high-mounted stoplight also add to the van's contemporary look. But it's on the inside that this Ford van exudes its greatest appeal to passenger car-oriented drivers. There are 3 Club Wagon trim levels and up to 70 body configurations of the Econoline van. The 8-passenger Chateau Club Wagon we tested boasted interior comfort and convenience that would be the envy of some motorhomes. Most notable is a Taurus-like instrument panel that houses a full set of large and easy-to-read gauges, and the first standard driver's side airbag in a full-size van. Getting into the Club Wagon requires a giant step up and a little oomph, but it's worth the trouble. Seating is in the form of comfortable cloth-covered captain's chairs with easy-to-use power adjustments. A tilt steering wheel is standard on the Chateau. The Chateau also comes equipped with power windows and door locks, with controls conveniently located horizontally on the door. Heat and AC controls, as well as the stereo system, are within easy reach of the driver, further underscoring the car-like nature of the Club Wagon's interior. While big vans always carry big loads, they usually lack storage for small things, but not here. We like the large door center console that houses a honeycomb of compartments and folds easily to form a double cup holder. Our van's smooth operating sliding side door made rear interior access as easy as it can be. The Club Wagon's rear quarters are roomy and airy with up to 12 passenger seating capacity. Our aircraft-style overhead vents and separate controls for rear passengers provide zone comfort, as well as eliminating the need for aftermarket conversion companies to install their own ductwork. Rear access is by wide swing-out doors. With an overall length of just under 212 inches, that's 5 inches longer than previous Econoline Club Wagons, there is plenty of cargo space, a full 260 cubic feet. Supervan versions add another 20 inches in body length. All but the driver and passenger seats in our Chateau can be removed. The process is as simple as releasing the seat belt, pulling a lever, and lifting out the seat. And if all this makes you tired, the rear seat folds down to form a bed. There are 9 powertrain choices available with the Econoline Club Wagon series. This optional 5.8-liter V8 is robust with its delivery of 200 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. Like all big vans, maintenance access is best from underneath and through a large interior cover. The 4-speed automatic transmission with lockout overdrive provides smooth, firm shifts. With a gas V8, acceleration is strong for such a large van. 0 to 60 miles per hour took 12 seconds. However, a 7.3-liter V8 diesel is available for the most serious of work. Trailer towing is another big van forte. Power disc front and rear anti-lock brakes are standard and brought our Chateau to a 60-0 stop in 128 feet. Quite impressive for a 5,400-pound truck. Town and country driving is enjoyable, if not particularly economical. EPA mileage estimates are 15 city and 19 highway. Our test mileage loop on this prototype van was 14 miles per gallon. The Ford Econoline Club Wagon series has proven its popularity in the full-size cargo passenger class since debuting in 1960, and it should remain popular with its base price of $16,740. Our Chateau model stickers in at $23,963. That's less than some minivans with much less to offer. Ford invested over $1 billion in development and tooling for the new Econoline Club Wagon. They wanted to not only improve its hold on commercial and custom van users, but to expand its appeal as a passenger van for families whose needs are many, not mini. The result is a big van that will gain even bigger fans. Our car of the week is a 1955 Pontiac Chieftain. It belongs to Victor Colicchio of New York, New York. If you have a special car, send us a good color photo and a self-addressed return envelope, and we'll consider it for Car of the Week. Our address is Motorweek', Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117. And now, here's Lisa Barrow with the latest motor news. Lisa?
This week, John, we have a look at a vehicle that may give new meaning to the term big car. It's the 1993 Cadillac Brougham, set for a 1992 debut. Cadillac's new flagship measures a full 18 feet long. Based on the current Chevy Caprice, the Brougham will be the only rear-drive car in the Cadillac line. It will also be the most traditionally styled, with its vertical front end and opera windows in the C-pillars. Power will come from General Motors' 5.7-liter V8 engine. In other GM news, Saturn cars are getting safer. The Saturn Corporation has heeded calls for a driver's side airbag. Airbags were originally planned for 1994 models, but dealers complained that the lack of this significant safety feature was costing them sales. So starting this spring, an optional driver's side airbag will be available on all Saturn models. This Japanese-like flexibility, coupled with the company's rapid responses to recalls, is further proof, John, that Saturn is not your ordinary GM division.
It's been said that good things come in small packages. In the case of things like motorcycles, that's true. Of course, vehicles can be much larger and still be quite impressive. So you can imagine how impressed we were when we recently got a close look at one of the biggest and most sophisticated vehicles on the road today. In case you haven't guessed by now, we're talking about a big rig, or more specifically, the legendary Mack Truck. Now, we must admit that being car testers, our knowledge of long-haul trucks is limited, or at least it was. When the good folks at Mack invited us over for a look at their latest rig, well, we just couldn't resist. And so it was that we found ourselves one hot summer day at the headquarters of Mack Truck in Allentown, Pennsylvania, where engineer Jeff Krause introduced us to the CH613 show truck, the top dog in Mack's lineup. The CH series was introduced in 1988 and represented a dramatic step forward in truck design. Facing stiff competition and tighter EPA restrictions for big trucks, Mack opted to design a whole new truck, cleaner, greener, and more sophisticated than before. $185 million, and some 10 years later, the CH613 stands as the proud result. For a vehicle of such immense proportions, exterior styling is surprisingly smooth. The flush headlights, sloped windshield, spoiler package, and sculpted bodywork present a fairly sleek face to the wind. True, it's no sports car, but remember, this truck is 8 feet wide and 12.5 feet tall. Storage for the long haul is not a problem, with a huge locker under the cab able to swallow a good bit of tools and luggage. Fuel storage is no problem either, with a pair of 135-gallon tanks hiding under the aerodynamic skirts. In an industry where fuel economy is measured in tenths of a mile per gallon, bragging rights don't come easy. And with so many variables affecting fuel economy, it's hard to pin down a firm number. But in normal use, this aerodynamic version of the CH613 should return a more than respectable 6.6 miles per gallon. And that gives this rig a cruising range of almost 1,600 miles. And with all those miles to drive, comfort is high on every trucker's wish list. Well, no worries here. The cab of the CH series trucks rides on its own air suspension to isolate it from the truck's chassis. The resulting ride is almost car-like, easily soaking up the harshest bumps. And inside the cab, you'll find a cockpit worthy of most luxury cars, with soft, air-suspended seats, full carpeting, 4-speaker cassette stereo, and hookups for both CB and cellular phone, not to mention enough headroom for a basketball team. Step into our truck's 60-inch sleeper, and you'll find all the comforts of home. With a writing desk, 2 bunks, and ample storage space, this home on the road makes those long trips a little more bearable. Residing in this handsome cherrywood dash is a gauge package comprehensive enough to make a 747 jealous. In addition to the expected speedometer and tach, everything from manifold air pressure to axle oil temperature is available at a glance. Even more impressive, though, is what you'll find behind the dash. Known as the VMAC system, this small computer's network of sensors and controls allows it to precisely regulate fuel flow, timing, idle speed, and other factors, all previously done mechanically. VMAC permits all of these functions to interact, making possible such things as onboard diagnostics, electronic logbooks, and soon-to-be-released anti-lock brakes. VMAC was designed for future expansion, which will allow Mack easier compliance with future EPA requirements, and also the development of things like satellite communications and traction control. Under the long hood of the CH613, you'll find Mack's newest inline six-cylinder diesel engine, the E7400. Although downsized from past trucking standards to a mere 12 liters, the E7 puts out 400 horsepower and a whopping 1,460 pound-feet of torque. With a gross vehicle weight of 80,000 pounds, we didn't expect to break any records in our acceleration test at Mack's Proving Ground. But with Mack's driver expertly rowing through the 13-speed gearbox, we recorded a best quarter-mile time of 41.5 seconds to reach 40 miles per hour. Impressive for a machine the size of some houses. Unfortunately, we ran out of straight pavement before the rig could reach 60. We did, however, get a chance to test the brakes. With a full load, our truck stopped from 52 miles per hour in an incredible 173 feet. That's within 30 feet of some of the cars we test. Now that we were pretty familiar with the CH613 and what it could do, it was time for our intrepid test driver to have a crack at it. Now, Dave's a pretty good driver. Put him in a sports car and he'll make it dance like Fred Astaire. We'll put him into a Mack Truck and he's more like, say, Fred Flintstone. Even though we didn't do so well in it, the Mack CH613 was nothing less than a revelation. It really opened our eyes to the kind of technology being put into big rigs these days. Like cars, these over-the-road kings are becoming increasingly powerful, sophisticated, and refined. And designs like the CH series stand poised to lead Mack and trucking confidently into the next century. Join us next week for more tests of new models, as well as the latest reports from Lisa Barrow and Craig Singhaus. Pat Goss will be along, and so should you. I'm John Davis, and we'll see you then.
Motorweek'92 is made possible by funding from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the financial support of viewers like you. If you'd like a transcript of this program, send $4 to Motorweek Transcripts, Owings Mills, Maryland, 21117. Residents of Maryland at 20-cent sales tax. Ask for show number 1114. Motorweek is a production of Maryland Public Television.